you'll let me know when I will start.
Yes. Sure.
Okay.
Change program is a very interesting, very needed program.
When we have spend their time in events like this, it's very positive. It gives me hope for the future of Rwanda. Reading for China is a very important get informed and know more about the world.
Platform. And that platform offers to the audience the discovery.
This is the opportunity for anyone, regardless of class, to be able to be engaged in a very meaningful way.
And it's really good to be here in an event where people come read and talk about what they're reading.
2 weeks, 1 page, almost 1,000 words. Without reading, someone remains somewhere in the dark. It is as if you're remaining somewhere in the dark. You are very enclosed. You don't know what is happening on the other side of the world.
One of the things that reading does, it changes you if you want to change.
If you don't read, you are not different from someone who can't read.
Did you know that the number of books you read doesn't
Reading for Change is exciting to young people. We learn a lot. Every category of people is able to attend. In order for change, we need knowledge. In order for knowledge stuff, we need to read. And I want to encourage a lot of people at a younger age, even the youth and even older, to bring up that culture of beginning to read.
The work that you're doing is amazing, and I think this organization is really important.
Reading is a fundamental part of life. It helps you to become more brilliant. It helps you to solve your problems, and it can create a curiosity that allows you to move forward in every way of your life.
It's really a good opportunity to share information, experience, improvement in our different professions. And it's a free event, and I hope we get to see there is reading is very important.
And it's wonderful to be here to attend the Reading for Change program today.
I was really excited by the questions that were asked by the students and the energy that was
Reading is very important to develop yourself and to develop knowledge about the world. Reading for Change, very transformational, very good. These guys are doing very amazing things here in Kigali.
You'll meet lots of people. You'll have really good opportunities to talk about things that are important to you, and you'll learn a lot. These events are worth listening and learning from. So that's really good. I lead the change to challenge. I read for change.
Okay, good evening, everyone. And I would like to say hi to our guests.
Hello.
You get me? That was it. That video says a lot about what Aflata has been going through, what we have achieved, and what really about us. And today I would love to welcome everyone who was able to connect so as to be with us in this, I could call it a session or a meeting, something like that. And with so much pressure, we are glad to have you as our guest. Before continuing, I would love to introduce myself by the name of Zamda Kavamahanga, and I'm the host of today's Learn for Change 22nd session. So I would love to welcome you. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I think you should start by introducing yourself to the people who are following us.
I thought you're the one who can introduce me. I'm still growing. If I introduce myself, I won't grow anymore.
Okay, you want me to introduce you?
Yes.
Okay, you said you are young, but still I'm younger than you, so I will accept anything you ask.
Please go ahead.
Okay, this is Jean Désiré Ntawiniga, and I hope I introduced it well. I pronounced it well. And he's here to talk or discuss about the uselessness and the usefulness of the young in the society. And without delaying, I think we should start, and we are ready to hear from you.
All right. Thank you very much, Zamda. I highly appreciate this wonderful opportunity to interact with the different people from all corners of the world. I do believe there are different people who are following us from different countries. And I'd like to appreciate and thank the leadership holders of Aflata's initiative that you took. Labor will start to germinate. This is that, if I can, my memory is right, this is a 22nd edition, right? Of Learn to Change, okay? And it's a great privilege for me to be invited as one of the speakers And I appreciate the speakers who came before me. I had a chance to go through the kind of topics they shared with the audience. I was quite happy to know what they shared with you. I'm just going to bring some insights or to polish what I have talked about, because it's a kind of construction. The little knowledge that I have, it's in line with what the previous speakers shared with you, and all other speakers that will come after me will talk about, because everything is in line with what FLETAS Africa has been created for. I fell in love with Africa's vision, which is to empowered and engaged youth leading a prosperous Africa. That is amazing. That led me to think about what I can talk or share with the audience tonight or in the morning, depending where you are, or in the afternoon, because I do believe we have different viewers and followers from different corners. So I would like to know, people would like to know what the kind of youth that are going to lead a prosperous Africa with this young continent, with this aspiration and ambition of becoming a prosperous. There should be a type of young people with a certain caliber, with a certain traits that are willing to lead a prosperous Africa, a prosperous continent. When you talk about prosperity, this is what we aim to enjoy and have in place. We know how our continent has been struggling to develop, but we won't dwell in the past. We have to be futuristic and aim high. So there should be people who go at the helm and be pioneers and work together to bring this continent what it should be. It's a journey, and I can say that the journey has already started, and it's something to be proud of and to be part of this organization that has decided to light up the torch and move forward. So without taking much of the time, as you have said, my name is Jean-Désiré Nawiniga. I am the founder and CEO of Ladder Leadership Consulting. Ladder Leadership Consulting, we do have a 4P approach. We help organization leaders, number one, to improve their performance. P number two is to enhance their productivity. And P number three is to expand their portfolio. And the last P is to increase their profitability. Any business leader would like to focus and tackle all those 4 Ps. So we help the organization to be more profitable by improving, enhancing the productivity and the performance, and we do offer a series of services. So tonight, I'm not here for Ladder Leadership. I'm here for FLETAS. I've been privileged to be invited. So allow me to step and be part of your boat, and we move in the ocean together. So the usefulness and uselessness of youth. So that's the topic of tonight, all of today. When you talk about usefulness and the uselessness, this is, allow me, it's not a political speech. I like to interact. Can you, Zamda?
Yes.
Yes, I want you to unmute. I know that people are following, but I'll be because otherwise I'll be talking to myself. I want to hear someone responding to me.
Okay.
What comes into your mind when you think about usefulness and uselessness?
Thank you. In my opinion, I think usefulness is this is a big part that a person can play in a given field in society or what. Are you able to contribute to the goals that are in the society or are in a family, any other group of people? So, and the uselessness, I would think, is like living but without living, or you are physically present in front of people or in a group of people, but actually they don't see your contribution, they don't see your help in the goal or in the purpose they are living.
That's powerful. That's powerful. I like it. I like it. You know, allow me to quote what this is Honoré de Balzac. He's a French writer. He lived in the 70s, 80s. You know, he said, people value you for your usefulness, regardless of your worth. I repeat, people value you for your uselessness, regardless of your worth. You know, youthful stage is that time of life when one is young, and often means the time between childhood and adulthood or maturity. And according to Youth Dictionary, it's defined as the appearance of freshness, vigor, spirit, and the characteristics of one who is young. It's obvious that someone who's supposed to be young has to be powerful in terms of strength, physical strength, because there's a time that will come that power, that energy, that vigor won't be there anymore. So it's a very, very important and critical period of time that someone has to be very, very, very careful how to navigate and deal with it, because it's not permanent. You can't be young for the rest of your life, because you will grow. You are growing. I am growing. I used to be young, but I'm not young anymore. Yes, in my mind, I feel that I'm still young, but physically speaking, trust me, I'm not 20 years anymore. I'm not 25. I'm not 18, 17. No, today I'm 45. I'm not that old, but I'm getting older. But in terms of physical capacity, I'm losing a little bit. Can you hear me? Yeah, and that's why it's a great privilege for me if I can share with you some tips that are useful that you can use as a young person to be more successful and useful in the society by knowing what to do and avoiding what not to do to be more productive and useful in a society. I will say, who are the youth? There is no universally agreed international definition of the youth age group per se. But for statistical purposes, the United Nations say that, I mean, that without any prejudice to any other definitions made by member states of the United Nations, but the UN defines youth as those persons between the ages of 15 and 24 years. So between 15 and 24, you are assumed to be a young person. So being useful is to be of valuable or productive kind. A youth must therefore not only be full of strength that I've mentioned earlier, you also need to be productive, because it's not enough. It's not enough to be full of strength, but you need also to be productive, which is very, very important. And that comes in line with the usefulness of youth. So this means that a youth should be a man or a woman of value. I wish people could be taking notes and write down what I've said, that this means that a youth should be a man or a woman of value, adding positive impacts to the society and the world at large. Let me repeat. I want to repeat this because I'll emphasize on these three elements so often. Being useful is to be of a valuable or productive kind. A youth must therefore not only be full of strength, you also need to be, should be a woman or a man of value, adding positive impacts to the society and the world at large. But painfully, or regretfully, our generation has gotten to a point where everyone is so interested in jumping into success without labor. This is it's a big, of this generation are eager to be competent and giving more time, and that one's living is measured, the way you live is measured by values added and impacts made. That's why someone should a little bit sit down and ask himself or herself, am I adding life to the society or to myself? Am I making an impact where I live, where I stay? Those are two questions. We are becoming lazy and eager to make riches and fame without labor. It's very simple in our days. You just go on social media. It's all of a sudden with a, how can I call it? With a pretty face, with a beautiful face of a picture, all of a sudden you are followed by 400,000 people just by clicking like, and you become famous just like that. Very good, but very dangerous. Life itself is all about adding value, and be useful in your youth stage is very, very important. How do you add value to your life? Things you can do to add value. I'll talk more about this. Number two, expand your network. Number three, be a perpetual student or learner. In these three ways, you can add value to yourself or to society. But starting on point number one, which is the one that I will highlight more, there's no way, and there's no shortcut. There's no way you can be useful in this society if you didn't discover your purpose. There is no way. And this is the most critical issue with our African young people, because the majority of them don't know their purpose. They live aimlessly. If you live a purposeless life, you live a life full of hopelessness. There is a huge difference. We'll see later on how a purposeful person is the one who's meant to make an impact and bring a change to this continent, which is very important. So youth in this changing world, there should be a paradigm shift, but you shift from where to where? This is what needed. This is the kind of question you should ask yourself. In this changing world, the African youth need a paradigm, but you are moving from point A till where? Is it B, C, or D? In our continent of Africa, there are two levels of visions or two levels of youth. Number one, we have young people that are visionary, creative, innovative, inventive, and they are driven by ingenuity. And these people are energetic. These are young men and young women who have risen to greatness and fame by claiming the margins of their lives in their professions. These are people who have made progressive leaps in the development and the realization of the worthwhile purpose of their lives. These are people who have burning desire. They have something burning in their hearts. They want to be achievers. An unflinching commitment and a passionate determination to attain their goals and to realize their visions. We see young people of illuminating intelligence and great aspirations, whose ideas and money rule the world. People who are consumed by the desire to make a difference. Young people who have followed the compass guiding their lives of purpose. Not only in Africa, but we see this all over the world. There are not many, there are few, but are making an impact. You know, you don't have to be as many as the sand of the ocean to make an impact. How many, Zamda, can you unmute?
Yes, I hear you.
How many Zuckerbergs do we have?
I should say one.
Do you know Zuckerberg?
Yes, Mark Zuckerberg, right?
Yes. How many do we have in the world?
I will say one because every person is unique. So with the Mark Zuckerberg, we only have one.
Good. We don't have 100 or 500 Zuckerbergs in place. There was only one energetic, inventive, creative young person who thought about Facebook. I don't go deep behind the story of Facebook, how it was created, the true founders, but what we know is that the founder is Mark Zuckerberg. So he brought a revolution in terms of the way we socialize. He was one, but he made a huge impact. You should read his biography and know what motivated him to be who he is today. And he's one of the billionaires, one of the top 5 richest people in the world. And look, how old is he? He's still very young, but his impact and his usefulness is to be praised. So I would say the first category of people, of young men, are driven by vision. It's very, very important to have a vision. But on the second hand, we see a bandwagon of young people who have lost focus, unfortunately, who have no vision for their lives, people who are tossed by winds of change and the tide of time, young men and women whose lives have become stale and have lost the steam of purpose. We see young boys and girls whose lives have become citadels of immorality. These are people who are driven by corruption behavior. We see a host of young people all over Africa given to the free reins of drug, crime, prostitution, abnormal sexual behavior. We see young men who have no fire burning in their bellies, people without hope and no vision for the future, no initiative, no creativity, people who live life as it comes. You know, if we say that Africa has got the most young population in the world, and the majority of our young people, yes, we can brag ourselves that we are young, which is good. But if, let's say, I won't say this the exact figure, if 80% of our young people are in the second category of the youth that I've mentioned, I don't believe we'll achieve our goal of having an energetic, empowered youth that will lead a prosperous Africa. I do believe Afflatus Africa has got a huge and a big mission to move our young people from the second batch to the first one, where everybody is living a purposeful life. These are the people you can count on to lead a prosperous continent. While on the first level, we have people who are striving to live a fruitful and successful life. On the second level vision, we have people who have failed to live life fully and fruitfully. And between these two groups of people, there is a great gap, of course. And the gap between the achievers, the leaders, and the spectators, and the wanderers, we may ascribe many efficient causes to the reasons why some people are successful and others are not. For some, poverty is the cause. Yeah, it might be an excuse. For others, poor background, lack of basic necessities of life, lack of resources for good education, and a host of other social and cultural conditions. These are the reasons they advance for their failures in life. And for those who succeed in life, what are the reasons? Many of us will probably say they came from a wealthy homes with good background, which could be true. They were well exposed. I would say maybe, yes. They had the best education and so on. In general fashion, people tend to identify successful people with their wealth, family backgrounds, while the identity people who are not successful in life with a cycle of poverty. This is what people will say, but in the real sense, it's not true. This is a traditional fallacy we have to break out from, because there are people, they are young men and women who didn't have a very healthy background, but they managed to emerge and become useful in the society without even a proper education, without even having enough resources or necessity at their disposal. So the real gap between the successful people and those who are not successful is not wealth or poverty, but simply It's one simple word. The difference is their attitude. Attitude is very, very, very important. So we are familiar with the maxim or the saying that your attitude determines your altitude. It is the way you see and visualize life that determines how far you can climb on the ladder of success and how long you can sustain yourself on that ladder. No one climbs the ladder of successful life hands-free. You have to commit yourself, and that commitment is your attitude. I know some of you know William James, the famous American pragmatist and psychologist, who said that the greatest discovery of my generation is that people can alter their lives by altering their attitude of mind. Attitude is everything. Between stimulus and response, man has the ability to choose. Within the freedom to choose are those endowments that make us uniquely human. And in addition to self-awareness, we have imagination, the ability to create in our minds beyond our present reality. We have conscience, a deep inner awareness of right and wrong, of the principles that govern our behavior, and a sense of the degree to which our thoughts and actions are in harmony with them. And we have an independent will to act based on our self-awareness, free of all other influences. So therefore, in line with what I've mentioned, there are two levels of usefulness. Number one, useful as an adjective I'm trying to define can be construed as having a practical or beneficial use. Very important. Having a practical or beneficial use. The first usefulness that I would like to highlight is the usefulness towards yourself, oneself. So usefulness is twofold. Number one, usefulness to oneself. Guess what? You can't be usefulness to someone else or to the society if you're not useful to yourself. This is how you see yourself. Who are you? How important are you to yourself? So the bedrock of frustration is when one is useless to himself or herself. There is no communication of usefulness to the environment when one cannot in himself ascertain that he or she is happy and fulfilled. My question is this one. Who do you think you are? Who do you call yourself when there's no one around? Are you happy about yourself? Are you contented with who you are? Because this will build your self-esteem. This will build your confidence. The moment you know that you are useful to yourself, the moment you bear in your mind that you are important, the moment you know that you carry the right identity, trust me, you start to attract usefulness, not only from the inside, but also from the outside, because everything is the law of attraction. You attract who you are. So usefulness starts by knowing who you are. Usefulness to oneself. As a matter of fact, everything we do in life tends towards making ourselves happy and useful to ourselves, first before any other entity. One is useful to himself when he or she sees that his achievements have met his desire or in line with his desire. I repeat, everything we do in life tends towards making ourselves happy and useful to ourselves first before any other entity. One is useful to himself or herself when he or she sees that his or her achievements have made his desire or in line with his desire, when his decision leads to his development, growth, and advancement. On the other hand, you are useless to yourself when you seek to destroy yourself by your actions and decisions. Are we together? Good. Number 2, usefulness to the society. The second rank of usefulness is to the society. An individual is never an isolated being. You are not alone. You live with people. How useful are you to other people? We are ought to be the light of the world and the salt of the earth. But remember that salt is useful when in association, but useless in isolation. Could you please write that down? Zamda.
Yes, I get you.
What of the purpose of the salt?
Excuse me, repeat again.
What the purpose? Why do we use salt while we're cooking? Do you know how to cook?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you use salt?
Yes.
Why do we use salt?
I think we use salts to get the, I think in why it in the case of the salt, it's about adding some, it's adding something like special to food to taste good.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Don't be afraid. Yeah, I agree with you. You know, there's a huge difference between food without salt, not much salt, sufficient salt per se, and food with salt. Why? Because salt will add flavor to your food. You know, it becomes tasteful. You'll enjoy the food with salt. Why? Because that salt has that quality of bringing that flavor to what you are eating, to your food. So in the society, we should have that character, if I can say that salt have in association with food. Do you bring taste to the society where you live as a young person? Do we bring flavor to this continent of Africa? Because people, people will come towards us. People will want to buy your services. People will want to follow you because you are useful to them. You bring flavor, you bring taste to their lives. So salt becomes useful in association. That's why you need to be associated to other people. You need to be inclusive in the society. And salt becomes useless in isolation. That's why you're not in an island. You can't live by yourself. You're in a society. So our life is intertwined with a society. You cannot in any way diverge yourself from the community. There is no way. in order not to be repugnant in the society, you must be useful. And there comes the obligation to be useful in the community. When an individual has a pragmatic beneficial importance in the community, then this usefulness can be ascertained. That's why if there is a time someone can position himself or herself to become useful in a society, it's when he or she is still young. Do something useful in your community while you are still young. It doesn't have to generate money. Because whatever you do at your young age is an investment. And the return of that investment will yield much profit in the near future. So instead of spending, 10, 15 years doing nothing, find something useful you can do to the community, and people will take notice of your initiative. That's why I praise what Afflatus Africa is trying to do by compelling people and telling young people the importance of being a volunteer. We have an issue with unemployment in Africa. But guess what? There is no way you wake up in the morning and all of a sudden, all our young people have got their jobs, their dreamed job. There is no way. There is no way. How are you going to get your dream job? Start by being useful. Be useful to your community, not necessarily by earning money. Forget about money. I know you need money. We need money. When I started the Leadership Consulting, I started this company in 2012. But guess what? For the first 5 years, I didn't make any single profit. I realized that, yes, 5 years, no profit. I realized that I would rather spend more time with my people, with a business community, and volunteer. I won't charge. Some of the services, I didn't charge. I didn't charge. I started to charge after 5 years when they noticed that this guy, he is offering something useful. We need his services, and he has been useful to us because I had to build a relationship between me and the community and the people that I serve. So it's very, very, very important, if you want to be useful to your community, to the society, that you do something, not necessarily that generates money. No, money will come after. Don't make money your aim, your objective. No, serve your society first. That's very important. Quickly. As I told you earlier, that's one of the ways to add value to your life is to discover or to find your purpose in life. This is the most critical issue with our young people. And I would like to give you some few tips that you can use. These are tools measured by experts, and they have shown a tangible results. According to Dr. Adam Doxey, who is a licensed psychologist in private practice in San Jose in California, he said, and I quote, "If you don't feel fulfilled by or happy with your life, you may decide to evaluate your life's purpose." Because I'm going to talk about purpose. It's very, very important. Purpose is the foundation of usefulness. Very important. While this can be a challenging self-examination that may lead you to believe that you have been living life the wrong way, take heart. It's never too late to begin living the life that you want to live. A life that is meaningful and happy. Find your life's purpose, then take action to implement the kind of life you really want to live. Number one, the way how to discover your purpose in life. Discovering your purpose in life is twofold. There is an inward part and outward part. Because the moment you discover the purpose of your life, trust me, your airplane, if you're an airplane, you start to take off. The reason why most of people don't become useful in their lives is because they live or they move in the opposite sense of their purpose. Let me give you an example. Zamda, I'll keep on using you as an example. I like to give a illustration.
It's okay.
Can you show me your finger? One of your fingers. Just show us one finger. Okay.
This one?
Okay. Yes. Okay. What can you do with that finger?
I think my finger, I can hit that my paper with this finger. That's in.
Okay.
I can rub face with this finger.
Okay.
I can remove some from my eye with this finger.
Perfect.
It's a lot.
So it's not just one purpose. There are many things that just one finger can do. But
yes,
let me ask you to do something. Can you, okay, the same finger that you showed me or showed us, can you put that finger in your mouth?
Okay.
I want you to bite. I want you to bite and make it painful for yourself and bite that finger.
You want me to make it painful?
Yeah. Do it.
I can do it.
Yeah, can you? No, bite
I
yourself.
did.
Okay. How do you feel? How do you feel the moment you bite yourself? The moment you bite that finger?
I feel the pain.
You feel the pain. Very important.
Yeah.
This is what happens. If you are not like the same finger in the middle of your teeth, the same pain goes to the person who is in the wrong place doing the wrong thing. Whereas he or she was supposed to do what he was born to do. Can you imagine if you spend the rest of your life putting that finger in the middle of your teeth? What's the point? It's useless. That's the uselessness of that finger. That finger is not supposed to be in between your teeth. You'll feel more pain. That's why people go to their jobs complaining. They are not happy. They are not happy with their salaries. They are not happy with what they do. Guess what? Did you know that more than 60% of employees are not happy with what they do on a daily basis? What a waste of time.
Sure.
Yes. Yes. And that's why we have an issue with when it comes to service delivery. We have medical doctors who were not supposed to be medical doctors. Maybe they were supposed to be teachers, but because they are not fulfilling their purpose, they went to school to study medicine, not because they want to become
physicians or medical doctors. They just want to make money. You are not created to make money. If your intention is to make money, you're wasting your time. You won't be fulfilled. You are not happy. That's why we see so many people who make money, a lot of money. They are rich, but they're not happy. They're not fulfilled. They're not living a purposeful life. So how do you discover your purpose? Because the moment you discover your purpose, trust me, money will follow you. Quickly. So part one, the inward one, is evaluating your interest. So number one, with this part, I'll mention six things quickly. Number one, keep a purpose journal or have a notebook. Have a journal, have a notebook, and call it a purpose notebook. It's abnormal how everything is recorded. Everything, almost everything. If you are sick and you go to the hospital to see a medical doctor, what will he do? He will ask you questions. Number one, you have a file, isn't it? You have a file. When you go to the hospital at the reception, they'll make sure that they will write down. Number one, they'll take a record of your identification, your names, your age, your residence area, everything, so that when you come back, they won't need to register your name again. So your records are there. They write down the conditions of your health to see the improvement. So it's very important to have your notebook. This is, trust me, try this. Have a notebook aside and write on it my purpose notebook. Just like that. What are you going to write in that notebook? So this is a useful tool for making any changes to your life or your perspective. Create, trust me, I have one. Not even one. I mean, I started to write in my purpose notebook. I can say 20 years ago. So I've got like 10 or 15 notebooks. So I write down everything in line with my story life. It's very, very important because this helped me to discover the purpose of my life. So create a dedicated journal that will help you write down and explore your thoughts about your life's purpose, your passions, and your joys. Don't worry about how your writing sounds. This notebook is just for you and no one else will read it. It's important that you are completely open and honest. Be honest in everything that you write in that notebook. It has to be yours. Don't write someone else's story. No, it's about you. It will help you a lot. So number one, keep a notebook. We call it a purpose notebook. Number two, question yourself. So, because we are trying to discover our purpose. So, to begin assessing your life's purpose, it's important to assess what you love to do. What do you love to do? Because this is the kind of questions you should ask yourself at this age, while you are still young. Yes, you can find your purpose at an adulthood period of time, but sometimes it's too late. Maximize your potential while you are still young. It's very, very important. So it's crucial to ask yourself these questions. So the second point that I've mentioned is question yourself. To begin assessing yourself, your life's purpose, it's important to assess what you love to do, what you currently do, and what needs to change to live a more purposeful life. So some of the questions to consider are the following, very important. Question number one, when have you been happiest in your life? Don't answer me. This is the question you should ask yourself. When have you been happiest in your life? Do you know that there are people who don't know when they've been happiest in their life? And that's why they can't discover their purpose. Because your purpose is in line with what makes you happy. Question number two, what has made you truly proud of yourself? Question number three, what qualities do you most admire in other people? The qualities you admire in other people will push you to discover your purpose. Question number four, what makes you feel really alive and energized? Question number five, how happy do you feel on an everyday basis? Question number six, if you had 1 week to live, how would you spend that week? Very good question. If you had 1 week to live, how would you spend that week? These are questions you should answer. Question number seven, what should, that should with A's in plural, are overriding your wants to? I will explain this. What should, I mean, what are things that you are compelled or you are forced to do that are overriding things that you want to do? Because there's a difference between things that you want to do and things that you are forced to do. There's a huge difference. Question number 8. If you could change one thing about the world, what would it be? If there is one, please don't change many. If there's just one thing, something that is bothering your mind, that if there's one thing that you want to change, you would like to change, what's that thing? And the last question, what one change could make your life happier? Good. Point number 3. So I said point number 1 was keep a purpose notebook. Point number 2, question yourself. I've shared with you the questions you should ask yourself. Point number 3, create a list of your interests and passions. Write down the things that you enjoy spending time doing. This can be related to your work, your personal life, or your home life. They should be things that make you happy, that you really enjoy doing. These are things that you enjoy doing without getting paid to do them. And they are likely things that cause you to lose track of time. These are things you do and you won't watch or consider what time is it, because you are passionate about that. You don't even care if people don't pay you. What is that thing? Because if you don't know that thing, trust me, you can't discover, you won't be able to discover your purpose. So number 4, write down what you love. The things and people that you love are very important to the quality of your life and how you spend your time. Acknowledging the things and people that you love can help you focus your passions and your purpose. Focusing the things that you love with your heart rather than value with the reason can bring you closer to your true passions. Because I'm talking about the things you love, because they're in line with your passions. These are very, very, very important. That's why you realize that there's someone who write down and say, no, I like to see people being fairly treated. That means this person, he hates injustice and he values justice. It's very easy for him to pursue a judicial career. Don't make him a pilot, an airplane pilot. No, because his life, his passion is in people's justice. And it's very simple to have a proper career guidance the moment you know your purpose. Is very important. For instance, I'll give you an example. My dad, my father, is an accountant by profession. And my mom is a nurse by profession. So when I grew up, I had this mom's tendency of treating people, because I could see how my mom would handle patients at home or at the hospital. And I really wanted to become a medical doctor. I wanted to heal people. So my mom was not a medical doctor. She was a nurse. So when I finished my primary school, I mentioned that I'll study nursing. And my dad said, no, Jean Désiré, you can't be a nurse like your mom. It's okay for her, but I think if you want to become a medical doctor, the other subjects you have to study, but not nursing. But because there was no way I was going to study those subjects with the environment where I was in, so my dad influenced me, and I studied business and administration. And at the university, that's what I did, and I majored in accounting. So I did accounting not because I was really in love with accounting. Trust me, I qualified, I graduated in accounting, but trust me, even the first job I got, the first and the second, I've been working in different places as a chief accountant. I was the most frustrated and miserable person. I wasn't happy till I discovered my purpose. I realized that I am a people-oriented person. I like to hang around with people. This is what makes me happy. I like to add value to people's lives. I like when you share with me your idea or your issue, your problem, and I give you a solution. Trust me, that is my satisfaction. That is my satisfaction. You don't have to pay me. If you don't pay me, the nature itself will pay me. And that's, it took me, oh my gosh, it took me When did I discover my purpose? I discovered my purpose in 2012. It took me years to discover my purpose, but I had to write down what makes me happy. This is very important. And remember, I told you this is practical. These are small, simple tools, but are very useful and practical. Number 5, find your joy. Find your joy. This is similar to your interests and passions. But finding your joy is a little more focused. To find your joy, think about what makes you feel blissfully happy. Think about the last time you laughed so hard, your sides hurt, or smiled so much that your cheeks were sore. What makes you happy, joyful? Let me tell you one thing. It's very simple. If you go somewhere and you notice that someone doing a certain job, he or she is not happy, tell him or her, brother or sister, hello? You better find your purpose. Because if he or she is not happy, there is something wrong with finding their purpose. And the last one is don't listen to social norms. What is that? What does it mean? It's common to think about what others expect from you. Parents, friends, and society, they have certain expectations from us, all with good intentions. Social norms might tell you to not start that business, not to quit your job or take a pay cut for a less prestigious job. But ultimately, you are the only one that can decide that's right for you. So I'll advise you to think from first principles. What does it mean? What in the world if you didn't care what others thought of you? Be conscious of what thoughts are your own versus those passed on to you. Have you ever thought starting a business is hard? Or that you can't make money following your passion? There are beliefs generally passed down to us that may not be true. Think to yourself. Be yourself. Make your thought alive. Yes, you can listen from other people. You can get advice, but still stick to your dream and your vision. Otherwise, people will lead you to divert, and you won't fulfill your dream and your purpose. There is one thing that Helen Keller said that I like. She said, I cannot do everything, but I can do something. I must not fail to do something that I can do. It's very, very important for you to find that thing. Not everything, but you can do something and stick to that thing without allowing people to interfere and lead you astray. The last part, which is part 2, which is the outward part, is stepping outside yourself. The first part, focus on yourself, and the second one is going to focus on the outside. Number 1, determine the purpose of humanity. This is a weighty question, and it may take some time and reflection to decide. But if you can determine what you think the purpose of humanity is, you can scale that idea down and apply to your own life. Number 2, find people who inspire you.
Think about people whom you find truly inspiring. This can be world leaders, church or religious leaders, historical figures, or people from your own life. Think about why these people are inspirational and determine specific actions or characteristics they have that you'd like to emulate. So you may want to keep this list in your purpose notebook that I mentioned earlier. Remember that you don't have to admire or emulate every aspect of that individual. Rather, you are using that individual to home in on specific characteristics that you would like to have too. Point number 3, leave your bubble. What do I mean by leaving your bubble? Leaving your personal bubble or your comfort zone. This means having a broader view of the world and the people in it. We tend to be somewhat self-centered in our day-to-day lives. Remember, while you're still young, at this age, you still have energy. You still have your physical strength. Go out of your comfort zone. Travel, visit places, explore, have this hunger and thirst of discovering new things, new places. This will help you to become more creative and inventive. Don't stay in one place. Move around, go to places. Very important. Leaving your personal bubble or your comfort zone means having a broader view of the world and the people in it. We tend to be somewhat self-centered in our day-to-day lives, but leaving your bubble gives you the opportunity to view the wider world around you. With this renewed realization of the rest of the world, you can more objectively see your place in the world and evaluate your passions and purpose. Once you have a greater awareness of other people around you, you can decide how you want to interact with those people. Determine how you would like other people to view you in relation to themselves, and then work to be that person for them. Point number 4, ask friends, what are your strengths? Your friends, some of your friends, most of your friends know you. Ask them, what are my strengths? The answer they will give you, you'll get from them, will help you to know your purpose. Point number 5, stop thinking in absolutes. What do I mean by stopping thinking in absolutes? Many people think that their purpose or their career or their interest have to revolve around one thing, not necessarily. But sometimes our passions are about balancing multiple interests that fulfill different aspects of our needs and wants. For example, let me give an example. If your life purpose maybe is to bring happiness to yourself and others, you may have the sub-purpose to feel fulfilled in your work, to be patient with your family, to make your kids laugh, and to listen well to your friends. All of those work towards your greater purpose. So the advantage of having multiple facets to your life's purpose is that if one area is lagging or is not working or stagnates or it's not going well, you won't feel like you are entirely off track. So if your work life is not fruitful or is not productive, but your home and social life are, you can still feel like you're working towards that happiness. And the last point is set your purpose. After doing this self-check,
you have examined yourself, and you have cross-checked the environment surrounding yourself, you have expanded your view outside of yourself, decide what you'd like your life purpose to be. Remember that it's okay if it changes in the future. It can change, but at least you have your plan A in place. It's important to have a goal and a direction now, even if you alter it later as you change and grow. Once you have decided your purpose, write it down. Post it somewhere that you can read it every day, reminding yourself of what you want in life. You can ask yourself each day if you have done things to work towards that purpose. I emphasized more on discovering your purpose because this is the most important thing as a person, as a young person, if you want to become a useful young people in your generation, in this dispensation. Without knowing your purpose, there is no way you are going to become a useful person or a useful young person. Discover your purpose. The moment you know your purpose, trust me, everything will become smooth in your life. Yes, you will encounter difficulties and hindrances, but it doesn't matter. The moment you know your purpose, trust me, you will know how to deal with your distractions, your disappointment, because life will disappoint you. But once you know your purpose, a person who knows his or her purpose, number one, there's no way you can be discouraged. There's no discouragement. Number two, there's no way you're going to quit. You can't quit. Those who quit are those who don't have a purpose in their lives. So this is the little that I wanted to share with you tonight. The usefulness and uselessness of youth. Number one is discovering and knowing their purpose and serving their purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jean Désiré. It was really good to hear from you. I think we've learned a lot from you, from the speech of today, and through the presentation, I've got some questions.
Please.
And I would love to ask the first one. As you started, you mentioned that the age of young ends to 24, according to statistics. Okay?
That's according to UN.
Okay, to UN statistics. Yeah. And I would love to ask, like, in Rwanda, I would say in Rwanda, first example is in Rwanda or in Africa in general. I mean, a person starts to get the freedom or the liberty from the age of 20. That's when we start to feel like responsible of our lives. And yet it's not all of us. It's really quite small number of people, because most of us, we really still depend on our family until the 24th years. So how are we going to start to think about ourselves, to discover our purpose, to go for what we want, yet we don't have that liberty or that freedom in our families? That's the problem in our society. Like, how are we going to overcome that? Because you can see we spend that ages still depending on our families. Like, how are we going to overcome this, or how are we going to go through this?
Thank you very much. Very good question. I would say that truly our society or our home environment
doesn't allow us to groom successfully our young people. How? Because I talked, if you can recall, I talked about coming out of our comfort zone. And that's why most of young people are not creative or inventive, because they're not willing to take the risk. Why? Because most of their families, respective families, are protective. No one wants his boy or girl go out. Number one, there's an issue of mistrust. Maybe they don't trust their young people to be responsible the moment they go out. So they want to protect them, but in that protection, that young person is losing a very important step towards the discovery of his or her purpose. That's why there should be a change in our mindset as far as parents are concerned. It's very, very important. And that's why for most of the Western countries, the moment a young person turns 18, he or she is not allowed to stay with their parents. They will tell him, go and find something to do. Or their parents will do something besides schooling, and they will make that person, their child, to be responsible of that project. Because you have to find something of your own at that age. It's very, very, very important. But that is in line with our parents. They have to understand. They have to understand. Not to be more protective is good. Yes, to look after your children, but at a certain age, because if you start to go out of your comfort zone at the age of 24th or 25th, trust me, that's too late. That's too late. That's too late. So it's in line. I do believe the upcoming generation will become more cooperative, and they will understand that these young people, they need their liberty, they need their freedom, responsible. They have to manage it responsibly, but it's a good thing to allow them to take the risk, calculated risks. It's very, very important. Otherwise, I mean, we will lose a golden opportunity whereby our young people were supposed to be inventive and creative. It's very, very important. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Yes, you answered. Very, very good. And the next question is about, you have just mentioned how to be useful, and being useful in a society. It's not all about money, right?
Yes.
You just said it's not about earning some cash, but in the life we are living today, you find yourself in a situation where you are like, you need money for living. You need money for the rent, you need money for the food, you need money for the transport, you need money for education, you need money for everything. You need money too. And earlier you just said, being useful in society is not about worth, it's not about our background, it's not about what we have or what our family have. So, and I think how will you be useful and not thinking about the money, yet you are in a situation that you need a money for living? Like, how will you manage that situation where you need to be useful in a society? You need to do the things that you want. You are doing your purpose, but that purpose is not bringing you some money in a moment. and yet you still need money for living. But I think our society, we are being pressured by that that matter of needing money just for living. So how will you manage to go for your to go for something which is not earning you money, but you being useful for the society, like towards society? How are you going to manage that pressure?
Good. Good question. Let me go this way. Money is an outcome. Are we together? Money is the result of an answered or a solved problem. So while you as an individual, as a young person, you are living in that society and you want to add value, number one, to yourself, to your life, and add value to the society. How do you add value to the society? Find issues that are bothering your society. And by answering that issues, by finding solutions, people will pay. People will recognize your efforts. And that's how you get money. But the focus is not money. The focus is finding solution. What the solution are you bringing on the table? Because the money you are going to get, you won't get it for free. You work for money. But that money is an outcome. That money is in recognition of your effort by providing the solution to the table. Let's say you live in a sector or in a district. Did you take time to go around and make a study and discover and enumerate and say, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 5 major problems in my community. And this, I have highlighted the ways I'm going to provide solutions to these issues. Trust me. If you do that, not necessarily in 1 day or 2 days or 1 week, are we together? But the moment you provide solutions, it's all about providing solutions. Because within solutions, there are money. There is money in solutions.
Okay, but I think you should take us through your experience. You've just said through your career, you just spent 5 years, no profit. So, like, if a person like hears that, some people are not like patient enough to wait for the 5 years. So, sometimes you find yourself like doing another career that you're not happy about, but at least you get money quickly. Not as in you are not happy, but you get money. And we saw that it's the pressure we have is about the money. So like take us through your experience. Like, how was it? How did you feel? And how did you live those 5 years with no profit? Did you have like a side business, a side jobs? Or how did you spend those 5 years?
Yes, of course. Okay. This brings me to another topic. Okay. Let me share with you. There are four things you can do with your money. Number one, you can waste your money. How do you waste your money? When you don't know the difference between what you want and what you need. This doesn't mean people don't make money.
They make money, but they spend a lot of their money on what they want, but not necessarily on what they need. Okay, so this is wasted money. Number two, you can consume your money. Number three, I don't have time to go through this. I just want to highlight, to answer your question. Number three, you can save your money. You know, saving is very, very important. And these are some of the skills that young people should learn, because you don't learn this from school, unfortunately, and that's why the education system should change the curriculum, because people know how to work for money, to get money, but very few have the skills how to keep their money and how to make their money earn more money. So that's why saving is very critical. It's very, very important. The way I survived during those 5 years is by the saving. Because saving is just a small portion of what you earn, and you keep it aside. But saving itself won't help you. That's why a certain part of the money that you saved has to be invested. That's investment. That's the last thing you can do for your money. So number one, you consume, you can waste, you can save, or you can invest. So what I did, because I mean, this is something that you prepare. I mean, you plan ahead. But yeah, I didn't live based on my profit, but I lived based on the small portion that I kept aside just to live the minimum life that I can afford before I make a profit. It's not easy. It takes patience. That's why entrepreneurship, to be an entrepreneur, I mean, you have to think twice. And there is a way, maybe this is another topic, and that's why most of people rush into entrepreneurship and they quit their jobs. I'm not saying people don't quit your, no. There is a way you can keep your job and at the same time be an entrepreneur. And you do it simultaneously. It's possible, but it takes a lot of patience. You have to be very patient and very willing, and be very much willing to sacrifice yourself. Is that okay with you?
Yes, yes, it is. And I think we are about to, the time is already enough, but I think I still got like 2 questions. And I would ask, just, you mentioned about the purpose notebook, and you said you have like 10 or 15. Like, how do you get time to read the past ones, like those in 2013, 2014? And how do you feel when you read through those past notes? How do you judge yourself? Like, what do you see from it?
Wow. Because I revisit them once in a while. And this helps me to know if I am on or off track. Because some of the stories, the moment I recall what I went through that very moment, it becomes a kind of motivation. It reminds me, it's a source of motivation. I remember what happened, and this reminds me of the action that I have taken. So it's always very important. The purpose of having that notebook is it will serve you as a reference. It's always good to have a reference, because without a reference, there is no way you will know how you are improving. There is no way you will know how you have been doing and what you should do. So it's very, very important. Like, I mean, it's everywhere you go, there are records. There are records. Like I've told you, if you go to your medical doctor, you'll be surprised. He or she will tell you, oh, Zamda, you came here 2 weeks ago. These were your symptoms. They record it, and they will help them to know how your health is improving. They'll, yeah, if you go in accounting, they have records. If you go in any service, they have records. Why can't you have your records? It's not normal for other institutions to have their records, but you as an individual, because you are an entity by yourself, you should have that record, because that will help you. It will help you to review and reassess your improvements, yeah, and how you reach your goals. It's very important.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I think people who are following should learn from you. That's really important, because after there is these things, when you spend like 2 or more days not thinking about your purpose, you just forget everything. Exactly. So it's better to have that purpose notebook for a reference. And the last question from the people who were following us is that asked that Africa is only continent on a globe with a big number of youth. Do you think this will bring any merit to the continent, or rather causing more troubles as long as we still be irresponsible?
I would say this continent having the youngest population in the world is in a two-edged sword. On one hand, it can be an advantage. On the other hand, it can be a disadvantage. How? It's a great advantage because having this human capital in place is a great advantage, great value. But however, these people, they need to be included in the process of decision making. And this is a big issue. Most of our young people are not involved in the decision making. There should be platforms where these young people are involved economically, politically, socially, so that they can make decisions, because these decisions are going to affect their lives, their social and economic lives. It's very, very important. So the moment they see themselves in the big picture, they will take the ownership. But the issue may arise the moment these young people will be neglected, and the moment they're neglected, and they're in a big number. So the moment, and this is what happens. And that's why we see most of young people, more especially from the West Africa, run away from Africa, and they want to go to Europe. What do they want to do in Europe? They want to find jobs. Do we mean that we don't have jobs in Africa? They are, but it takes a political willingness and initiative to involve these young people in the big picture. Otherwise, if these young people are not part of that process, it's a big blow. It's a big blow. And that's why it takes responsible and wise leadership to sit down with these young people in different platforms to see how they can involve them and give them tools and opportunities. Because without being involved, there's no way they're going to become active. They'll remain passive.
Yes, that's great. That's great. And thank you, Jean Desire, for your time. I think it's already time. And I would love to thank each and everyone who spend their time with us. I think they also have learned more from these 3 points of trying to be a useful person, and the tips to find the purpose, which is very, very important in our lives. So Jean Desire, we really appreciate you. We are inspired by you. We recognize your work. We love your work. And we hope to meet you in another sessions or in life, in real life. So we really love your work, and we really love the presentation. We love the time we spent with you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Zamda. I wish many success to Afritas. To the whole personnel, the leadership who spent time with us tonight to listen to the little knowledge that I had to share with you. It's a win-win situation. There is a lot we can do together, because I do believe in the power of partnership. Coming together is the beginning. Keeping together is a progress, and working together is a success. And that's what I believe. Thank you very much, and I wish you
That's true.
A wonderful and pleasant weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you.